we go. Okay, Mr. Pence, can you give the Tea Parties of Indiana your specific rationale for voting for the debt ceiling increases?
You bet. And let me just tell you, it was a really tough vote for me. I've been fighting against runaway federal spending by both political parties since I arrived in Washington, D.C. in 2001. And so voting to actually increase the debt ceiling for me was a very difficult vote. But I had three criteria. The first was that there needed to be dollar-for-dollar spending cuts for any increase in the borrowing authority. The second was I made it clear that I would not support a debt ceiling increase unless there were no tax increases in it. You may recall the president was lobbying hard for tax increases in that process, and he still is. That's right. The third thing was I wanted to see us vote for the first time in 15 years on a balanced budget amendment to the Constitution of the United States. And I told our leadership if we were able to meet those three criteria, I'd be willing to help find a way to pay the nation's bills. You know, the Constitution of the United States says that the debts of the United States are not to be questioned, and we need to respect the full faith and credit of the United States. So I thought by setting those three standards, I would lay a pathway forward for at least a responsible increase in the borrowing authority for the country, finding a way to pay the nation's bills, but doing that in a fiscally responsible way. But let me emphasize again, it was a tough vote, and at the end of the day, when the White House relented on tax increases and when we found the dollar-for-dollar spending cuts, and we got a vote that'll start today and it'll take place tomorrow on a balanced budget amendment to the Constitution, I was willing to support that.
Are you going to?
For me, it really always comes down to being a man of your word. And when I told my colleagues in leadership what I would be willing to do, and under the conditions I'd be willing to do it, I wanted to keep my word to the men and women with whom I serve. So I respect very much the frustration people feel about our nation's debt and about that vote in particular. But ultimately that was my reasons for making a tough call, and it was, at the end of the day, a tough call.